Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, America's Cup fans. Welcome to the Inside Tack, where we are going to debrief with you guys the second day of our semi-final racing against Alinghi Red Bull Racing from Switzerland. We've got Lucas Delcourt. Now, Lucas, you just told me your job title. Just say it again, because it sounds incredibly important for a man of your young age.
Yeah, apparently it's called Shoreside Performance Coordinator.
Shoreside Performance Coordinator. Now, Giles, we've been in this game a while, and the more kind of words you have after your job title, the more important you are, I think, isn't it? Because I am Cyclor. That goes to show where I am.
Yeah.
So Lucas.
And Lucas is an important chap, so he deserves the word count.
He deserves the word count. And obviously we've got Charles Scott back with us, sailing team coordinator, all-round legend.
Senior.
Yes, absolutely. So Giles, we sat here yesterday afternoon and we talked how conditions were going to be super similar to yesterday. We were going to have a light Garby. That was not the case.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. I think it caught out a few teams. We went out, thought it was going to be light. Started hoisting our main in the harbour here and got it on the lock. Changed our mind.
Yeah, it was our light wind mainsail. Basically.
Yeah, we went up with our light wind mainsail and we went for a slightly heavier airs main instead. And yeah, we weren't the only teams doing that. So yeah, tricky day for the forecasters today.
And it was to make that call. It takes us a set amount of time to, particularly once the main's up, to come off lock, get both mains on the boat, get the mains up and on lock. The way up for your decision there, making those decisions, is do we sacrifice training time to get on the right sail, thinking the breeze is going to build, right?
Yeah, I mean it's certainly not a call that sits solely with me, that's for sure. But yeah, I think it is a bit of a way up, and there was a lot of discussion going on, and between Ben, Dylan, Robbie, myself, and Cappy and Zav, we're kind of trying to work out what's best to do there, and yeah, we decided to stick with the lighter airs main, and then got it on the lock. We were ready to go, and we changed our mind. And it was a good job we changed our mind.
Well, because we finished the last race, our second race of the day, in over 15 knots, I believe, on the last time.
Yeah, it did.
18?
Yeah,
how much?
Flashes of 18.
Yeah, flashes of 18. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Luna Rossa 51 knots today, I saw.
Is that right?
Coverage, yeah. Yeah, it got windy at times.
Yeah, copy that. Lucas, at this point in the show, we normally chuck over to Ian Williams, because Giles and I don't actually watch the other racing. We go home and watch it in a minute. Yeah. Give us a brief rundown of what you saw between the Italians and the Americans in their two matches.
Well, interesting and tight pre-starts on both sides, and then like really tight races all along. I don't think in neither of both races the gap went more than 300 meters or something like that. And so the Italians got the win on both races.
Right.
And the Americans got super close on the last run downwind of the second race to actually overtake them. I think it was almost half a boat length for a starboard to port call on the last literally down to the line.
Yeah.
Wow.
They didn't got it and crossed the line 2 seconds after.
Yeah.
Bit of tough for them, but they were quick both upwind and downwind today.
You were saying before we went live that they show flashes of just being electric with boat speed, right?
Yeah, they have this mode where they literally they're a super low clearance boat, and they go with high effective, they lock in, and then
When you say high effective, what do you mean by that?
They go actually so they can't on the side, goes really wide.
Yeah.
And this is a team that likes to sail with a lot of effective, and definitely they lock the boat in. And then suddenly you see the boat ramping to weather.
Yeah.
Like literally, and being locked in and super fast. So last upwind they ate into the Italians like that again as well. So
Really? Well, I'll look forward to watching those later on. It sounds like good racing.
really good.
And to move into our racing, Giles, obviously we raced Alinghi twice again, as is our semi-final. We went into the day 2-0 up. But our mindset leaving the dock was approach the day like it's 0-0 still, effectively. We had to go out there, different conditions, and just go through our racing processes and get into our first pre-start.
Yeah, absolutely. Every day is a school day for all teams. In a great spot after yesterday, but as you say, wanted to come out firing again today. And as this pre-starts showing, there was plenty of flames about. Real close moment here with Alinghi on a dial down in the pre-start, which got a little bit too close for comfort, and I'd imagine both teams will be coming away from that little incident thankful that there was no foils clashing or anything.
And Giles, with this pre-start, and we're going to watch it numerous times through numerous angles.
Yeah.
I was on board for this race, and pre-starts are not necessarily formulaic, but you have in your mind what might happen when your port or starboard entry. But the fact of the matter is, when you're on starboard, as we were coming into this incident, and you had a port boat coming with under a minute to go, we haven't really ever talked about that in this cup cycle. It wasn't a scenario that we were freestyling, let's say.
Yeah, it became quite a freestyle start, and just before this incident, they'd fallen off the foil, they'd got slow, and there was a call from Ben and Dylan to tack round and go back after them whilst they were slow, and in that time they managed to pop up onto the foil and get borne away and put that jibe in, but you know that put them in a bit of a tricky spot with a dial down, and yeah, you could see they kind of had a moment. Looks like by the amount of white water off the back of their yacht, lost control of the rudder, a bit of indecision about whether they were going to turn up, turn down, and yeah, close call.
And from a rules point of view, we've already had a bunch of people going, this is a port starboard, you protested, why no penalty?
Yeah, to be honest, we've not fully reviewed this yet, and it'd be good to get Richard Slater's the chief umpire's opinion on it. But you could see there from that last little clip that the platform borders didn't clash, but you know that's not a requirement on a rule break. So yeah, certainly one that needs further review, and you know, it's kind of we're all biased sat here, aren't we? But yeah, it looks pretty obvious what happened from our perspective, I think. But yeah, like a lot of these incidents, there's many ways to skin it, and the important opinion is that of the umpires. So yeah, it'd be good to find out what's what by tomorrow.
And Lucas, you're a numbers guy, you're a data guy. You are dialed into turn rates. So how hard we turned the boat. Did we break a turn rate record there for that jibe?
For a jibe, yeah, about 26.
Yeah, right.
That's not a normal jibe.
Yeah, that is not a normal jibe. I can tell you on board with the G-forces turning down into that jibe, it was definitely not a loose moment, but it was definitely a jibe that, yeah, it was pretty full on. It was when Ben said words to effect of, oh golly gosh. So I allowed myself, Giles, if it was all right with you, to have a little look to see what was going on, and I saw a massive Red Bull in front of me. I was like, right, I better pedal. Yeah. So that's what I did.
Nice, mate.
Yeah, thanks.
Solid.
And then the remainder of that race, Giles, the race was done there. Really.
Yeah, it was. It was. It was. They were off the foil, slow, and then they actually got up, got going, and then had another crash just after they touched down after they crossed the start line, and yeah, the distance opened up pretty quickly, and yeah, we managed to sail away and had a really nice, clean set of laps.
Yeah. Well, we even minimized maneuvers for you, Fred.
Well, that's what I liked. You said to me in that race we only did 9 tacks, right?
Yeah,
which
and
is
literally
good.
All of the top mark, we skinned them with some high modes. Pretty skinny high modes there.
Yeah.
Slow.
Well, no, I'm all about that. And I actually said to Matt Gottrell, who runs our power side off halfway up the first beat, I said, we don't need to burn a match here, Shrekkie. Just protecting my own heart. And we crossed the line and had a nice lead. And yeah, as Giles said, it was a good lead. And the thing I love about this clip is Race Village. Race Village action. It is busy down here in Barcelona, and the British are showing up. James Ward there and his young son Jack, giving it plenty of salad and support. And yeah, it's good fun. I'd say they're having a few, well, not the nippers, but the older are probably having a few cervezas in the sun, Giles.
It is. It's getting busy in town. It's really cool. Like getting the yacht out from the harbour this morning. That's getting trickier and trickier.
It's
cool to see.
The energy is building, and then on the back of this of the crowd cheering, we cut to Chase 4. And Lucas, one thing I have noticed over the regatta is Chase 4, our support boat, definitely knows where the camera is now, right?
Oh, yes, they do.
They do, absolutely. Robbie and Zavi's always hiding out the back, being a little bit hidden away, but look at them. They definitely know where the camera is now. Bertie in particular definitely knows where the camera is.
You can see the look at the camera from Robbie.
Yeah, Robbie's looking down the camera.
They've been speaking to some of our cyclaws, I think.
Yeah. Ryan Todd Hunter, he loves the camera, absolutely. Right, so that was race 1. Race 2, different flavour again. The breeze was building. Giles, we changed jibs, I believe, going into this race.
Yeah, we went to the J4. Breeze was up to flash like 16s, 15s, 16s.
Averages,
Yeah. A bit of windiest race I think we've seen so far.
Yeah, we had a windy one against Luna Rossa round robin 2.
Super Saturday,
Okay.
And the pre-start for that was
super flat water today.
Yes, and hence the high boat speeds that we'll see in a minute. But the pre-start wind-up for that, we entered on starboard, they entered on port. You might have expected a circle from someone coming in on port, but they actually went 2 boards early and killed time on the boundaries.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we were expecting Lingy to circle around. That seems to be what they like to favour. But obviously uprange here, they opted for a bit of a slower mode out with 2 foils down out towards that boundary, and we decided to follow suit. And you can see here it's quite tricky without doing that additional circle in this sort of wind speed. It's very easy to get early back for the line. So we hung off them, and Lingy do a good job of being at speed at the pin end there. But we've got a slight jump on boat speed on the start time, and that position up the line's quite nice leading into that first boundary. So a good start, and a good a yin to the yang of the start from race 1 for sure. A bit more tranquilly.
And the rolling into the first beat of that race was, Lucas, that remind me, you count all the tacks, that was a defensive tacking duel from us to try and hold that lead going from the advantage we had off that first boundary, as Giles said.
As many tacks almost as the first race in total.
Is that right?
Yeah,
it's almost like you're trying to say we didn't try in the first race, but come on, mate.
No, that was...
It's impressive, eh?
Yeah, that was pretty good, and some really high modes as well, so difference of modes into all of the stacks, so I think performance-wise we have like plenty to crunch for us.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, as soon as this is finished, you're back chained at your desk, but we'll get onto that in a minute. And as you said, Lucas, big breeze, super flat water. We know these boats are going to go fast. They're limited. All teams are going to be limited by foil cavitation, but we are seeing boats go over 50 knots. And here's a bit of an onboard and a look at our boys, I think at gate 1, turning down, and on board with Parko putting down some watts as well, which is good fun. I personally think he looks like he's being electrocuted, but I'm sure in his own way he's having a lovely time. Giles, a hard moment to control for the trimmers and the helms to coordinate this turn down and this catch and the power back up and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Towards the top end of the wind speed limits, you do see yachts taking the decision point to bear away with 2 foils down. Didn't see that today from any teams, but it does feature. So yeah, you're getting to the conditions today where you do see the top speeds, and as you saw, getting over 50 knots from us there is nice to do, but it's not a number that we really look to push up. It's certainly a point of interest, and everyone loves to go over 50 knots. But the reality is that a bear-away top speed doesn't win you a race.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Because when people come and visit, they're like, how fast do they go? How fast do they go? And it's actually, Lucas, for me, it's, as I know it is for you, it's the light air performance now that's outstanding, and that the top end speeds are good, but they're not where they could be if the rule wasn't so restrictive around the foil, right?
Yeah, I mean, like top speeds, we have to cater for like a wide range of conditions, and the trade-offs for everything that you invest into cavitation is going to hurt you massively into the light winds. So then you're like, okay, what else can I do, and how many times am I going to encounter these conditions?
Yeah.
As you said, it's only the second race in these conditions so far. We've seen plenty of light wind actions, and there is a lot of way to mitigate windy bear away, in a way. Like today, as a structure guy in SSR he was sweating a bit.
Oh, really? And he's watching live loads, right?
Yeah, he's watching it live. He's probably saw a couple of alarms pinging, and he actually stood up and say,
"Oh, really?
Everything's still good. Everything's
okay,
still good."
Touch wood and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. But like we normally, as you say, like see maybe like 2 balls down and like slower radius and thing to mitigate and actually to get it down in depth rather than in speed. There's plenty of modding for the high wind, downwind. So.
Well, that's a beautiful little segue into on the shore support and what you do for the team. Now, we often talk about the support we get, the performance support we get from shore. Lucas, we've got a little clip here of what your race day looks like, and in our sailor support room here in Barcelona and our sailor support room in Brackley. What are you and your fellows, young Rich here, looking at and feeding back to the likes of Giles to then come onto the boat?
Yeah, so I mean, that's during the sailing. So I think as soon as we are docking out, we go and celebrate with the honks of the boat, but then we go straight back up. We check the conditions, and then we feed back really at two important moments, which are at the end of the warm-up. So everything we've seen in terms of we have a guy that does straight line performance upwind,
yep.
A guy that does straight line performance downwind, someone that is looking at our tacking angles to help the calibration of the wind, someone looking at tacks, jibes individually. So everyone is focused on more or less on the performance side on one aspect
yep.
Of sailing, and then we try to put it in a really succinct resume that
which is very unlike you brainy people, because you like a big long email.
Which is why we kind of put layers. Okay. We look into a lot of little details. Sometimes it's can you go and fly 1 centimeter higher? Well, it's these kind of things you need to filter them out.
Yeah.
So that's why we put a couple of filters. There is me on this side, and there is Robbie and Chubby, and then the sailing team and decide what they want to take on as well.
It's really
information overload. Do you think?
It's really important to get that right. And as Lucas says, there's a gatekeeper or several gatekeepers, and the final gatekeeper for the sailors is Robbie and Zav.
Yeah.
And then there's a few more up the stream, as Lucas is saying.
But race day wise, we get during the race day, our feedback gets really if we really see something we don't like, or really big asymmetry, or something that we flagged that we can gain way more performance, then we will flag it. Otherwise, we try to be really on the small things. But in the morning, that's when we have our debrief. Then we can go a bit more in depth about certain aspects that maybe we didn't talk about during the day, because again,
that's when you get your line graphs out on the computer screens, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Some of my favourite bits of the day. It's good.
Yeah, the squiggly lines.
Squiggly lines.
Yeah.
Squiggly lines. Right. Okay. And Lucas, before we move on, you've always been, you are a voice from the performance team to us. You've been on a nice journey, helping the boat get faster, helping us get faster as a team over the last 6 weeks, from the beginning of the preliminary regatta where we finished 4th to winning the round robin to going well in the semis. You must be pleased with how, not the race day dynamics, but how the overall link between the design team and the sailing team is working.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool for the last, I would say, 2 months to see when we launch a boat and you get a new piece of gear and you need to understand it. And on our side, we have all the model and the theory about it. And then suddenly it's sometimes it doesn't perform as well, so you try to go back and understand, so you try to make sense with all of this data. But the best way to understand this data is to get their feedback and understanding on what does this thing that we see as a squiggy line actually means and feels on the boat. And actually most of the time we say things, but the interesting facts where they come actually is the other side as well. They're we felt doing this felt really good, and then suddenly we try to understand what does this feeling good thing, because they have the feel on board, and trying to say, okay, what is a feature into this maneuver, straight line that made them feeling really good, trying to transform it, put in a metric out for those kind of things. And then
so it's a two-way thing.
It works both ways, and sometimes we would like to propose a change in technique or things like that, but there's sometimes things that we forget, in terms of the boat handling, that the guys were I would like to do that, but there's this thing that happened at the same time, so what do we do first? What's the most important?
It normally involves cyclists cycling harder when those things overlap, from what I've learned.
Yeah, you can see Parko.
Yeah, we can see Parko, exactly.
It's then we had I think competitors' data, as you say, and like the starting racing with each other. Like when you sail on your own, you're king of the world, right?
It speeds up learning no end. As soon as you get another boat around, it just fast tracks you so quickly, doesn't it? Because we don't, not that we'd argue about it, but you can discuss the performance profile of the yacht on a given day in debriefs till the cows come home, and it's so hard until you've got a like for like. But you know you're progressing when the sailors' feedback is beginning to line up with all the squiggly lines, and as soon as that starts coming together, you kind of know you're onto something and you're pushing in the right direction.
Well, this first question here from Derek Stannard kind of falls in line with that. Now, this is saying, assuming Alinghi don't make a significant fight back, and don't rule that out, this is the America's Cup. Remember the America's Cup match in 2013. This sport is crazy, and we're not counting our chickens. Would this, and we progress to the final, and this is touch wooding, would this enable Britannia to make more significant setup changes before the next round? Giles, Lucas, over to either of you.
I mean, yes, I think you talk to designers, shore team, you get the yacht in the shed, you're always going to be able to make it a little bit quicker, but equally we're going to be able to make it quicker going sailing. So as ever, it's a balancing act.
Yeah, I mean, in race day, you don't try new things. In race days, training days, you're allowed maybe to be a bit more fancy and freestyle and explore some things that you didn't do before. So more sailing days, a bit more freestyle is maybe good as well.
And this next question from Dean Addison, and it's kind of on the same vibe. Unless the Americans have a complete change of luck, and again, this is the America's Cup, touch wood, crazy things happen. Lucas, are your team, and I know we look in depth at all teams' performance, looking at our pace compared to Prada's. Now, this makes me uncomfortable because it's assuming we're going to meet in the final, so we're off that. But let's wind it back a bit. How much are you looking at other teams' pace, regardless of what team it is?
I mean, we have like, from the day we recover, like everyone and Mosey online doing all of these wonderful videos, we have all of the data from all our competitors, and we are overlaying that against our own, and we are comparing, and we can see that American Magic, Luna Rossa and us are kind of like in a pretty close bucket. I think he was a little bit under for now in terms of like straight line performance.
Yep.
But you can see on the races that we got against the Italians, it's like the start kind of defines it, right?
Yeah, it's close.
It's close.
It's so close.
And it helps to be in front. So
it does help to be in front.
Particularly at the finish. I've always found if you're at front at the finish, you tend to win.
Yeah.
And final question, guys. And I actually didn't know this was a thing. A question from AR Western. Any news on the mast noises after the sharp turn to avoid the collision? Was there funny mast noises?
Well, yeah, there was a little bit of chat on Chase 2, hearing the same noise.
Right.
Yeah, and we were, well, I won't say we, not me. The shore legends were all primed up and ready to jump on board and fix something. Battens, we weren't sure what it was, but all was good, I believe. So yeah.
Structural monitoring as well.
Structural monitoring and like the rigorous checks from Bryce Rothenberg and his team, and the ultrasound guys, who were the coolest guys on the base. Do you get it? Ultrasound.
Oh, yeah. You're good, aren't you?
Obviously, sort of ultrasound things and make sure the carbon integrity is.
Oh, I thought you were still explaining your joke.
Oh no, I'd moved on to. Okay, Joe.
Well, I didn't get the joke.
You didn't get the joke. You're a French man, no sense of humour. Looking ahead to tomorrow, we have got day 3, 2 races against Alinghi. Giles' forecast is?
It's lighter tomorrow. We said that yesterday, but I think it is going to be lighter tomorrow. And breeze a bit more to the left, so a bit more straight onto the beach.
Yeah.
We're first race tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is good, I think. 5 to 10 knots. There's always a bit of potential for some delays. So hopefully we can get into it on time.
And then if we don't, Tuesday's a reserve day, and then racing Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
And the forecast for Wednesday, Thursday, oh boy, Lucas, you've seen the sea state that's rolling in on Wednesday, Thursday, right?
Yeah.
It's surfs up. 1.5 metres.
Yeah.
So we could be looking down the barrel of a very sporty week to finish the semis.
Could be, yeah.
We will see. We will see. Well, you will see as well, and you'll join us again tomorrow, hopefully, for the Inside Tack as we debrief day 3, races 5 and 6 of our semi-final against Alinghi. So join us then.